Hello and welcome to my podcast. My name is Nettee and this is called This Too Is Healing. And this is my second series of podcasts, and I've got two lovely ladies with me this afternoon that are brave enough to join me for the afternoon. I have Jen. Welcome, Jen.
Thank you.
And I have Lauren. Welcome, Lauren.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to both of them because this is all very brave and they have stepped up. So that is really good. So let me tell you a little bit about me before we carry on with my lovely guests. So as I said, my name is Nettee and I work full-time as a paramedic in the UK. I work for the NHS, and in that job, I deal with a lot of people that are suffering, that are at crisis point with their mental health. I also, in the past, have suffered mental health problems and issues just because of the interesting journey that I have had. And I wanted to find a way to help more people to deal with their mental health or help themselves before they get to crisis point and before they're sat in the back of my ambulance at their crisis point, at their lowest point. So I wanted to get tools and advice and help from as many people as I can to help you, the listener and the viewer, to help yourself if you are feeling low, if you want to start a journey of healing. This is the place that you need to be at the moment because I'm talking to as many people that I can that are doing this professionally on a daily basis through the NHS, but also I'm talking to people that do it for themselves as a business privately that do alternative ways of healing. So there's many, many ways that people can heal themselves. And I just want to explore as many of those options as we can so I can help as many people as I can whilst I'm here on this planet. So let me begin with our first guest. And this is Jen. So welcome,
Hi.
Jen.
Thank you so much.
So well done you for turning up this afternoon. That is a brave thing to do.
Thank you.
So tell me, Jen, tell me about what you do and what has brought you here this afternoon.
Okay, so I am the founder of a business called Miri. We're yet to launch. And the business focuses on aromatherapy-based products, so using essential oils to encourage people to take that moment of self-care and really look after their well-being. The reason why I'm here is I wanted to share my personal story in terms of my own mental health journey and all the tools and things that I've found that are useful for me and that have helped me kind of turn everything around. And I want to just share that with listeners and other people.
Lovely. That's really lovely, Jen. And I know we've spoke to each other over Zoom, over a screen, and you briefly gave me an overview of the journey that you've had so far, your personal journey. And we'll go into it deeper later on this afternoon. But can you tell us are you a local lady? Were you brought up in this area? And also, can you tell us what led you to doing the essential oils? And tell us just a little bit more. Go into it a little bit deeper for me.
Yeah, sure. So I am local. So I'm based in Brixham, right by the coast. It's absolutely beautiful. I've lived in Devon. I say I lived in Devon most of my life. I have travelled. I have gone away. I've lived abroad. I lived in Australia, Thailand, New Zealand, all over the place. But I'm based in Brixham now. And how I got into essential oils is they have many, many therapeutic benefits, and different scents can help with different parts of the body, and for example, lavender is a fantastic one to help you relax and kind of de-stress and things like that. And how I got into it was I started using them personally, and I found how much it helped, and I was like, I want to create something that helps other people feel as relaxed and as zen as I do.
Do you make the oils yourself?
So I work with another company. So there's some products that I make myself, and then there's other products because of the sort of the legal side of things. So I've got another company that I work with, and they take care of all of that. But it all sits within my brand.
Okay. Right, lovely. Thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
Let's move on to Lauren. So Lauren, the same for you. So what's brought you here this afternoon? Why? And and who are you? And tell us a bit about you.
Yeah, thank you. It's so nice to be here, and lovely to be here with Jen as well. I live just down the road. I live in the next town over from Jen. So I live in beautiful Paynton, again, right by the sea, which is also just a stone's throw from where I grew up. So I'm a Devon girl. I did also move away for university and lived in London for a little while. But like many people I know, found the draw to come back to the place where I grew up and that I love so much. So I am a meditation and breathwork teacher. And the whole sort of premise of my business and the support that I offer people is really a way to make these practices that I think not so much have a bad rap, but are maybe misunderstood, or they seem like they have to be done in a certain way and maybe quite rigidly. And firstly, show people it doesn't have to be that way, and support them to take these practices that have been around for thousands of years for really good reason, because they work and they're amazingly impactful for our health and happiness, and also our kind of spiritual well-being. And also try and make them like fun, try and make them feel good and feel accessible. Yeah. So I'm here today because I love talking about healing and well-being. Brilliant. And like we chatted before and we're gassing, and that was really fun. That's like my idea of a perfect way to spend an afternoon, is talking about the things I'm really passionate about, and the things that have been honestly like genuinely life-changing for me. And and then the ripple effect of that, and how that kind of bleeds out into our community and the world. And we need that now more than ever.
I feel we do need that more. I'm definitely seeing that. I think, like I mentioned in the last podcast, and everybody's got this line, COVID line, when we went into lockdown and everything, that seems to be like a little marker in the sand for people. And I think even though all of these things were happening before, I think this little marker that we've seemed to put has and brought it to the light, which I think it's a good thing, but it also, a lot of people struggled with lockdown. It was very different for everybody. It was very different for me working, I was working more than ever. But I know a lot of people were very isolated. I was visiting people that weren't seeing anybody for days and days on end. And I think that really affected their mental health. And I think what's developed from that is that time that we had, that people had at home because they didn't have their work to go to or they weren't seeing their families, I think it was real reflection time for people, that they and a lot of people changed their jobs and changed their pathways, I noticed, after lockdown. I don't know if it was the same for you guys, but a lot of people, their businesses developed after COVID, because I suppose in a way though, COVID did allow you, or everybody, not me essentially, but time to reflect on their lives, because it took them away from their ordinary life. And some people liked what they saw and some people didn't, and some people made a positive change to change their lives and change their pathway, and some people, because they didn't have their support system around, that then it just all crumbled, their mental health crumbled. And I think it put a magnifying glass on people's health. How long, Lauren, have you been doing your breath work and your meditation work? How long have you been doing that?
Yeah, well, your reflection is right, because I trained while I was pregnant with my son, which was 2022. So there you go. It was just after lockdown. Yes. I completely agree with what you're saying. And I also think the stripping away of our social connection, time with family, time with loved ones that happened because it was enforced. I know for me anyway, and for lots of people I've chatted to, it's then a reminder of, okay, what's really important? Well, it is my connections. It's my tribe. It's my community. That's how we evolved, isn't it? We thrive in community and in our social connection. And when it was taken away, I think a reflection for me was, how do I want to spend the rest of my adult life in a way that makes those connections more frequent, more meaningful? And maybe for some people, the job they were doing then didn't align with that.
It wasn't meaningful.
Although you, I was working in the NHS and on our Nightingale Hospital in Exeter and setting up kind of different COVID services. So I was busier than ever. Working crazy hours, although interestingly from behind a screen at home. And not,
oh really? Were you?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, what did you do, if you don't mind saying?
Working as a commissioner, so helping I guess the development and design of those services and the pathways rather than clinically delivering them.
That's
so
interesting from my
clinicians.
point of view to hear that, because of course I'm the person that's on the front line delivering all of this, and then there's people making decisions for us and telling me how to do things that I never meet, and maybe they never come on the front line to see what it's what they've implemented actually looks like physically. There's been a lot of changes within the NHS since COVID, and I think and it's interesting to hear you say that you're on that sort of that side
Although
of it.
for your peace of mind, it was I guess I was kind of more coordinating a group of clinicians that would have been in a more similar situation to you, and almost helping that process to unfold rather than being the decision maker, because you were absolutely right. You shouldn't be doing that unless you know what it's like on the ground and what people need.
That's a whole new subject. That's definitely a different subject. And Jen, what about you? How long have you been doing so this your oils, your business? How long is it? You said it's new, so how new?
So I was actually made, unfortunately, redundant earlier this year. And so this was originally just meant to be a side project, but for whatever reason, the universe is telling me I need to go all in with this. So it's been something that I've been kind of creating in the background for the last sort of 2 years. I've been studying and kind of building my brand and all of that whilst I was working. But since I got made redundant in summer, it's been kind of full steam ahead. Let's get it up and running and go from there. But previous to that, I was doing recruitment for a care company, and I was just listening then about the COVID thing, and so we were busier than ever because I was recruiting people coming from all different walks of life, having to change their job roles because they needed to and they wanted to help as well. And I had some incredible people who had one person who's a singer. She's fantastic. She's actually local as well. And she became one of our top carers. Like, she was brilliant. But we supported people out in the community. That's what we did.
Oh, wow. That's really nice to hear, because I think at that time, just thinking back, I was so zoned in on what I was doing, and then I was seeing people that were lonely and isolated, but I wasn't seeing what other people were doing as well. There was lots of other busy people at that time too, wasn't it? And as I said before, I think it was definitely this line in the sand 100%. Where things just definitely changed for people. And I think as time has gone on, and the mental health kind of ebb and flow, it got really bad, and I saw more patients that were suffering sort of with anxiety and depression. And then it kind of settled a little bit once we kind of got back to whatever normal is, but the new normal. And then I feel over the last 6 months or more, maybe the last year, it's kind of escalated again. The mental health pattern has escalated again. And I'm only speaking from my own personal experiences. I've got no sort of data or anything like that. I just go to work, do my thing, go to the people that I see. But what I'm seeing is more mental health issues again, and especially younger people. there's a lot of younger people at the moment that are suffering, and that we kind of back on that upward spiral again. And that's why I think something that we're all doing and something like this is so important, to give people the tools to just help themselves. Because sadly, as we all know, the NHS, they're doing the best that they can, and the people within the NHS, they are working really hard, and they do a really great job. I meet some incredible people, but they can only do so much with the resources that they've got, and waiting lists, etc., etc. So that's why I feel that the emphasis needs to go back, and we just need to highlight that people can actually help themselves, and 100%. They can heal themselves, even from real chronic illnesses or diagnosis, etc. Because, I'm a person that in the past got diagnosed with complex PTSD, and I had therapy for that many years ago. But over these last 8 years, I've found ways that I can help myself, actually, and that has been more powerful than, even though the therapies did help in their own way. Finding the right therapy for you is very important, but the actual me helping myself, recognizing that actually only person that can do this is me, is a really important turning point for people. Is there any turning points within your lives that you've kind of gone, right, actually I need to do this myself? Because there's sort of, even alongside medical help, medications and therapy, they all have their place. I think everything has their place. What I'm hoping nowadays is that we're all coming together, the alternative therapies, the scientific side, sort of the medical side. I'm hoping there's more research, like with meditation, there is research supporting all of the breath work, the meditation, the mindfulness. There's a massive amount of research nowadays, isn't there, that supports all of this. And I'm hoping that those two worlds are coming together a little bit more, because that would be perfect, because there's so much like hypnotherapy and everything that does help people. It's finding the therapy that works for you.
100%.
Does anybody want to share sort of anything that's really helped them individually as a person?
I just wanted to say, I think you're right to use the word spectrum, because there's let's say at one end where you've got maybe someone with like a diagnosed medical condition, and then that's where Western medicine and, our kind of powers of prescribing and surgery and things like that, it like is amazing. It absolutely comes into its own. The other end of the spectrum, there are billions of human beings on a planet that are living complicated, like quite stressful, challenging lives for lots of different reasons. Like it's kind of difficult to be a human, isn't it? The human experience is really varied. And to keep us well at that lower end of the spectrum, I don't think we need masses of medical intervention at that end. What we need is more things like you've been mentioning, maybe hypnotherapy, meditation, exercise, nature. It's those things which we can be empowered to do for ourselves day in, day out, that will keep us well down here and hopefully stop us from escalating to the other end of the spectrum.
100%.
Yes. And I think that's what my aim with all of the stuff that I do online, with Instagram, of doing the mindfulness and doing the daily habits every day. That particularly helps me, because it does actually rewire your brain if you do something consistently. If you do it every day, it physically rewires the brain, and there's thousands and thousands of research that supports that now, and that's why I consistently talk about that online. And it's kind of the same subject, just packaged up in a different way, but essentially I'm saying it's your daily habits, it's your consistency of doing those daily habits. But sometimes it's quite difficult, isn't it, to stay consistent with habits, because of course life happens, hormones happen, family happens. Do you know what I mean? It's sometimes it's very difficult to stay consistent with our habits. You know, it's like, right, I'm going to meditate for 10 minutes every day. And then you kind of like, you get third day in and it's kind of like, oh, do I really have to do this? And it's having that motivation, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's definitely having the motivation is key to achieving those things, but also to not be so constrictive, like you just said just then, like, I'm going to do 10 minutes every day. Well, sometimes you're not going to have those 10 minutes. Sometimes you might need longer. Sometimes you might only have like 1 or 2 minutes. And that's okay. And that's something that I've definitely learned through my own practices. You know, I do yoga every single day. That's something that I really enjoy. It helps reconnect my mind and my body. It quietens down all the thoughts that go on in my head. And I never, at the beginning, I was like, I'm going to do 30 minutes every single day because that's what I need to do. And I realised, actually, no, I don't need to do 30 minutes every day. Why am I putting that pressure on myself? And I actually feel better when I'm listening to my body.
Yes.
If I'm like, actually, 10 minutes is enough today. That's all I needed.
Yeah.
I've moved my body. I've relaxed a little bit. I've worked with my breath, you know, that kind of thing. And I think for me as well, I know I work better with a bit of a routine. It's just how I am, but I kind of habit stack. So I'll do my yoga and then I'll practice daily gratitude. That is one thing that I do. And I'll write minimum of 3 things. Sometimes it's more, of things that I'm very grateful for. And it could be something really small. It could be, I'm so grateful for this warm cup of tea this morning, or I'm very grateful for my friends that I have around me. Or it could be something a bit bigger. It could be, I'm so grateful for having such a supportive partner, and all of these kinds of things. And that's what kind of helps me, is by sticking to my routines, but not being so constrictive in terms of I have to do X amount. That kind of thing.
I totally agree with you. I found exactly the same thing of sort of like, right, I'm going to do this meditation for 10 minutes. That's what I'm telling everybody to do. So that's what I've got to do, is 10 minutes of meditation. And then I'm getting up at 4 a.m. because I've got a 12-hour shift.
Yeah.
And it's how, you know, is fitting that in with that kind of day, or you're getting up for children, or your child jumps in on your bed and wakes you up with a start, and then you've got to deal with them, etc., etc. Because I've also, you know, I've got grown up children now, you know, they're still my children, but they're adults. But it's, I was a mum with young children, and trying to fit all of that in is sometimes you think it's impossible. Can you tell me so on the days that you are, you know, the days when you just wake up on the wrong side of the bed? You just literally wake up. We've all done it, where we are completely just fed up with life and we haven't got any motivation to do anything. And, you know, you can say, and in fact, reading positive things and seeing positive things actually annoys you, because because like someone says, come on, do something that gives you joy, and you're thinking, there's absolutely nothing in this world right now that I can find joy with. How do you get yourself out of that, Jen? How do you get yourself out of that,
so
Jen?
I'm going to be honest, I actually had one of those days yesterday.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I think it's just hormones, but I just felt a really bit fed up of everything yesterday. But the thing is that now, through my journey and everything else as well, I know how to recognise these signs, and I know it's just me, you know, having an off day, not feeling great. For me, it was just, if I only did one thing that just made me feel a little bit better, whether that was just getting under the blanket, putting on my favourite TV show, and just, you know, relaxing with my partner, or maybe you know, having a good old cry. There's nothing wrong with it.
Really,
sometimes it's really good to release all those emotions and that kind of thing. So when I'm having one of those days, I've learned, I know that I can recognise it, but I just try and do at least one thing that I know. And it's not, like you said, if I read something that's like, oh, life is great and this is all positive,
right.
and do
it's
this
like
and
you
do
want to
that.
throw your phone out the window.
Like I said earlier, even just going and make myself a nice hot cup of tea and just sitting there with my hot cup of tea and just taking a moment and a few deep breaths and kind of just relaxing, like that helps me. So it's all the little things as well. It's not just all the big things.
Yeah. And what about you, Lauren? What
Yeah,
would you do on those days?
I massively agree. And actually, part of my, if I reflect back to maybe me of 10 years ago, one of the things is that I would have judged myself, particularly for having long periods where I was maybe struggling. And I think now I've realised that's just normal.
Yeah.
Like, it's part of life to kind of struggle and have days where you're lower energy or you're feeling fed up with stuff, or it's hard to be joyful and grateful about things. My son is 2. We're really recently dipping into what I've heard everybody talk about, it's just challenging toddler behaviour. And there are many days at the minute where we've had bad sleep, I feel depleted, I'm grumpy, and sometimes I feel a bit sorry for myself or hugely doubtful about whether I'm being a good parent and making the right parenting decisions. So I think I'm trying not to judge myself is definitely one of the big things. And that's, been a learning curve for me. But I really resonate with what you said about doing something small. So I know on those days, for me to sit down and maybe do a 15-20 minute meditation is probably not going to be that productive for me. My mind's going to be worrying. There might be quite kind of critical or negative thinking, because when my body's in that state of depletion or stress or frustration, the thoughts that arise out of that state of my body are the more critical racing thoughts. So instead I might put on a song I like and just dance around the kitchen for 3 minutes, if that's all the time I've got. Or I might do something that's a breathwork practice that means that I don't have to sit in stillness. I can be a bit more active with it, but still be gentle with it. I guess I would try and choose a practice that seems to be most helpful for where I'm at on that day.
Yeah.
I've had periods of my life where I've tried to do the whole, I subscribe to this type of meditation at the minute and I do it for 20 minutes, 2 times a day. And it's at these times I'm feeling like a failure if I didn't do it at those times. And then quickly realizing, well, this isn't sustainable for me. It's literally not flexible enough. And it's not responsive enough to where my body's at, my hormones, my energy levels. And so, I think what I find helpful is having almost this toolbox. So there's a bit of a pick and mix.
Yeah.
How do I feel today? What do I need? How long shall I do it for? And tailoring it all exactly as you said with your yoga, tailoring it all to what feels most helpful and not judging myself if it's not peak all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you. So that was a good introduction to you both. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. So thank you very much for that. I do appreciate it. And I will see you in the second episode.